This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on The South Today, fire crews battled freezing conditions and high winds on Flagstaff, damping down hotspots from Monday's fire. Yesterday, bells rang out celebrating the return of the albatross to Dunedin's Taiaroa Head colony. And Pioneer Energy's new multi-million-dollar hydropower scheme near Alexandra is ready to go. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Daryl Baser. Ground crews battled freezing conditions and high winds on Dunedin's Flagstaff as they dampened down hot spots at the site of Monday's scrub fire. Gales twice reigniting the blaze during the day before it was brought under control.
A fire crew member feeling for any remaining hot embers. Ground crews slogged it out yesterday in snow flurries and strong winds high up on Dunedin's Flagstaff Hill, digging up and dampening down hot spots after Monday's scrub fire. Helicopters and ground crews were kept busy yesterday as the fire flared up twice more before being brought under control.
We've got ground crews working with hand tools around the edge of the fire. We're looking to have the fire contained later on this afternoon. We have one helicopter at the moment assisting with hotspots.
35 firefighters were on site yesterday using thermal imagery to locate hotspots at the fringes of the burnt area, as well as having to dig down for embers beneath the flax bushes.
We've got it's flax, so as you can imagine, there's a understory and a top part, and the fire has been burning underneath. And in order for the crews to get in there and extinguish it, they have to use hand tools and dig that over, and that's obviously the reason we've got the helicopter too. It's dropping buckets of water assisting with the extinguishment of the flax. Monday's blaze started in a remote spot near the top of the Pineapple Track and saw 7 semi-rural homes in the suburb of Helensburgh temporarily evacuated as a precaution. The fire covered approximately 28 to 30 hectares involving flax and tussock. The fire is being treated as suspicious, with 2 specialist fire investigators on site this morning to identify the fire's origins. Fire and Emergency are looking for any information from the public who were around Booth Road or the Pineapple Track area after midday on Monday. In Dunedin, The South Today.
A man in his 50s and a teenage girl have died and another person is critically injured following a high-speed crash on the outskirts of Outram yesterday. A sedan and a utility vehicle collided at high speed at the intersection of Huntley and Church Roads about 5:30 p.m. Chief Fire Officer Stuart Casey says Fire and Emergency New Zealand staff were there within minutes. They found a white sedan crumpled in one paddock, while nearby a ute had flipped onto its roof. Casey says despite the best efforts of St John Ambulance, only one person survived to be taken to Dunedin Hospital. Casey says crash scene investigators are working to determine the cause. Yesterday saw schools and churches in Dunedin and beyond continuing the tradition of ringing bells to mark the arrival of the season's first albatross. This year Dunedin Airport joined in with a fire crew letting rip with sirens, lights and water cannons to mark the occasion.
Ringing bells to celebrate the arrival of the first albatross to Dunedin's Taiaroa Head colony for the upcoming season. Yesterday, schools and churches took part in what is becoming an annual tradition to herald the return of the royal albatross to their only mainland breeding colony. And this year, Dunedin Airport joined in on the celebrations.
We felt like it was a really good fit for us to be a part of it. Obviously the albatross is very iconic to Dunedin.
Using fire-fighting water cannons, the emergency crews sprayed plumes of water high in the air to honour the first bird, an 8-year-old male, which arrived on Sunday.
We just had some of our AES team let off some water out of the fire trucks, the lights, the sounds, yeah.
Royal Albatross soar the stormy Southern Ocean at speeds of up to 100 kilometres per hour, so they would have been right at home in yesterday's gale winds.
I think it's very symbolic that it's so windy today, especially with the ringing of the bells throughout Otago. With the winds that we have obviously got, the Albatross would love it, that's for sure.
Last year, 164 birds returned, and another big season is expected for this year. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A government report is pushing for a multi-billion-dollar hydroelectric power scheme to be built above Roxburgh. The report, written by the Independent Climate Change Committee, recommends enlarging Lake Onslow and creating a tunnel which drops over 600 metres down to Lake Roxburgh. The scheme would use Lake Onslow as a storage reservoir to allow electricity production in dry years. The project would cost between $2 and $4 billion to build. The report follows a government push to have 100% renewable electricity by 2035. And following on from that, Pioneer Energy's new multi-million-dollar hydropower scheme near Alexandra has been touted as an immense achievement for the Central Otago region. The energy company unveiled the long-awaited scheme to onlookers recently. Generating power for 4,000 households.
I think it's quite significant. It's another step in the mix of making New Zealand reaching that target of being almost 100% renewable into the future, so every little bit helps.
Pioneer Energy opened the brand new hydropower scheme upstream of the Fraser Dam, near where Rough Creek joins the Fraser. Pioneer Energy Chief Executive Fraser Yonker says it's helping Central Otago to be self-reliant in terms of energy production.
I think what's quite important also to note is that I think Central Otago now is pretty much self-sufficient in terms of electricity production, and we technically don't need the grid at the moment to support us, and everything we use in Central Otago, everything we need, we can produce, and the scheme is an integral part of that.
The water intake is 3.5 kilometres upriver from the powerhouse, and Yonker says the accessibility of Fraser Dam Spot was opportune for the company.
I think whenever we decide to build any scheme, it has to be financially viable, so I think we're quite lucky that this one is financially viable, and for us it's quite important because it's close to our doorstep, just right on our doorstep, so it's not often that you get these opportunities right on your doorstep.
Construction on the project began in February 2018, involving several local contractors. He says the project was delivered on budget, but wouldn't disclose a final figure for the project for commercial reasons, but confirms the project is worth more than $20 million and will provide regional benefits for years to come.
The profits we'll make out of this investment will be to the benefit of this community for a very, very long time through the Central Lakes Trust. So I think that's quite important.
The generator is driven by an 8 megavolt 5-jet Pelton wheel turbine developed by global hydropower plant supplier Andritz Hydro. Yonker says more than 10 kilometres of 33 kilovolt cable running from the site towards Alexandra will be underground. In Central Otago, the South Today. Still to come on the South Today, we meet another hopeful candidate in the race for Dunedin's mayoralty. See you after the break.
At Alex Campbell Menswear, we bring you the best value. We have bought a massive selection of moleskins, and we're passing on the savings to you. Buy one pair, save $25. Buy two, save $60, and we've got a great deal on our knitwear. Look at it all, 25% off all our knitwear. And to go with the knitwear, what about a nice warm shirt? These are 25% off too. And while we're doing the 25% off, what about on the jackets? 25% off them as well.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So check us out for massive savings this winter.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality, stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chin.
Nau mai anō, welcome back. A South Dunedin police pursuit ended after a man's car was stopped by road spikes late last night. The chase began at the intersection of Bayview Roads and Andersons Bay Road about 11 p.m, ending in Caversham when the vehicle was slowed by spikes deployed by police. A 25-year-old man was arrested and charged with careless driving, excess breath alcohol and failing to stop. The car was later towed and the man is expected to appear in the Dunedin District Court. With Dunedin's Mayor Dave Cull stepping down after serving 3 terms, 14 hopefuls are vying to be elected to the role. In tonight's bulletin, Otago Access radio host Ian Telfer interviews candidate Mandy Mayhem Bullock as to why she wants to be the Mayor and where the change of office.
A wedding celebrant who says she wants to be celebrant-in-chief, Mandy Mayhem Bullock. Welcome.
Kia ora.
The council has a bit of an image problem, it seems to me. They've got the last resident opinion survey. 57% of people satisfied, 47% satisfied with the mayor and councillors. Might have a bit of a job if you're
That's right.
celebrant-in-chief. Well, what's wrong with the council and how would you fix it?
I think it's a bit of a stigma that goes back a long way, that we love to hate the council or to blame them or to say we're going to get another rates hike. I think we need to stop thinking about ourselves as ratepayers and just be the residents of Dunedin. It's important to have an expectation that the council will perform for us, but the public need to understand it's a really difficult job. It's a balancing act, pleasing everybody, and it's impossible to do that. But my first and primary focus would be some teamwork exercises, uniting the councillors in some mutual camaraderie. I'd be using my martial arts background to bring them into line, I think. But as a celebrant in a mayoral role, I'm very used to that officiating, you know, leadership, weddings and funerals. I see people at their best and at their worst. And I think those are skills that I can bring to the table in managing the City Council.
That makes sense to me, but would you have to do more if you're going to lift the council's satisfaction from 50%? You know, that means there's a lot of people who feel that the council just isn't doing a good job, right?
Bring back public consultation. There needs to be transparency. People need to feel like they have a voice at the table. They are stakeholders in the city's future. So we need to canvass and get out there and say, what do you want? Tell me what you really, really want.
You ride, don't you?
Yes, I have been riding the cycleways on a trike to prove that people with mobility issues could potentially use the cycle lanes. They're definitely not perfect because they haven't been completed. So the issue with park and ride, it's great for people who are commuting, but what if you do have access issues, limited mobility, lots of children, you're a senior person, you've got a medical condition? It's not always practical, particularly if the wind is blowing, it's raining. This is Dunedin. We need to have options for everybody. So those parks need to be replaced so that people can get close to where they need to be if they've got a mobility problem. And it is a big issue for Dunedin. I think with the hospital build coming up, it's something that we urgently need to address. We've got a lot of students. Students have more cars. You try and get yourself a park in the university area. I've got friends who work at the uni or the Polytech. They're getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to get to town.
And you have to circle around like sharks, trying to get one off someone else. Are the issues different? What about 3 years ago?
I think South Dunedin is still very much on the radar. I felt like last election a lot of people from South Dunedin were standing because they were upset, and that's still there. What are we going to do about it? So I still think that is a key issue this time round, but I'm impressed with the number of candidates standing. I think it indicates that the public are really looking for change, and of course with the mayoralty wide open, we've got so many people running for the seat.
Yeah, we've been talking about that a bit, and one of the things that people have said is that they've had to admit that they weren't sure if they really wanted to be mayor, but they had to put themselves up for mayor to get them cut through, and because you've got 40 candidates for councillor.
Oh, I want to be the mayor.
But do you want to be the mayor, Mandy? Really?
I do.
You do?
And we'll bring you one more interview with a candidate later this week. You can also check out the full 45-minute interview at odt.co.nz. After the break on The South Today, we take a look at the weather as we begin the descent into the weekend. See you soon.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
You've seen us in the street, now find us online. Check out shopon.org.nz. We have all sorts of treasures, from retro and vintage clothing to antiques, homewares and accessories. New items added every week. We're open 24/7.
Step into Op Shop on St Andrew and discover a place with plenty of bargains for yourself, your friends and the whole family. For a fabulous range of economy and upmarket clothing, accessories, books, shoes and more. Shop with us and support your community.
When it's time to say goodbye to your pet, Heaven Sent Pet Cremations are here to help you through this difficult experience. Call Heaven Sent Pet Cremations today for their care and guidance. Phone 489-2274.
If you're suffering from sciatica, lower back pain, hips and pelvis and knees, this technique will work wonders for you. The energy flow is transmitting through the muscles. Come and see Sunny Chill.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 17 years. New doors, replacement doors and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team.
Step into Ross Cafe, located at Ross Home in North East Valley. We have a great range of hot and cold food, friendly service and a warm atmosphere that you are sure to enjoy. We look forward to serving you soon at Ross Cafe.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Step into Shop on Carrot and discover a shop full of treasures. We have a fantastic range of vintage and retro clothes, upmarket clothing labels, collectible items, beautiful jewellery, quality linen and the best range of vintage haberdashery.
Thanks for staying with us. Time now to recap tonight's top stories on the South Today. Ground crews battled freezing conditions and high winds on Dunedin's Flagstaff as they dampened down hot spots at the site of Monday's scrub fire. Yesterday, schools and churches in Dunedin and beyond continued the tradition of ringing bells, marking the arrival of the season's first albatross. And Pioneer Energy's new multi-million-dollar hydropower scheme near Alexandra has been touted as an immense achievement for Central Otago. Time for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome the editor, Mr. Barry Stewart.
Hello, Daryl. So we hope our readers enjoyed this morning's coverage of local body elections, the issues and the candidates. We had 13 pages there and people having their say, so good opportunity for you to get to know the candidates that are standing across the region in local body elections. So, but the good news, and we have a story tomorrow about this, is that those not enrolled still have time to vote in this year's elections. So if you haven't done it, there's still time. Professional golfer Greg Turner has joined or added his voice to a group of Cromwell Golf Club members fighting a proposal to turn the Cromwell Golf Course into high-density housing. Queenstown Mayor Jim Bolt says the Lord of the Rings filming in Queenstown could be the biggest in the region, or biggest film production in the region ever. So huge investment in that area. So Mike King, we catch up with him. He's been talking to Dunedin school children about mental health. We have an update on the Flagstaff fire. It's all very much under control. And on the sporting front, we have the news that former All Black and Highlander Tom Donnelly has been named the new Otago rugby coach, replacing Ben Herring. Lots of World Cup news, of course. The big tournament starts on Friday, Japan and Russia. So, and of course the All Blacks play South Africa at the weekend. So lots of lead-up stories about that. I believe the The Welsh assistant coach has been sent home, so we'll have more on that story in the paper tomorrow, plus all the other news and interesting stories about in the lead up to the World Cup.
Excellent, thank you very much. All that and
Thanks,
more.
Daryl. Yep.
Yes, have a good night. Time now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, looking along the tracks at Dunedin's railway station. Looking at the situation, an anticyclone is set to bring fine weather for most of the country over for a few days, but a westerly airflow affects southern districts at times. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, Greymouth and Westport can expect a few clouds and 14 degrees. Across to the northeast, where Nelson and Blenheim are due for a blue sky day and 16 degrees. Moving down to Canterbury, Kaikoura and Christchurch, you can expect a fine day and 14. Ashburton, you're the pick of a bright bunch with a fine day and 15 degrees. Looking at what's in store for the southern towns, you can all expect moderate westerlies and some cloud, highs of 13 for the Catlins and Balclutha, with 12 degrees for Lumsden and Gore. Travelling westwards to the Central Lakes region, expect light winds and fine weather across this area. Queenstown and Wanaka should get to 14, Alexandra 15 and 12 for Te Anau, where you may have a few clouds as well. Up to the northern towns, Timaru and Oamaru can look forward to light winds and fine weather with highs of 14 degrees. Further inland, Twizel and Omarama are set for light southwesterlies, fine weather and a high of 13 degrees. Heading down to Dunedin, fine and cold tonight with a chilly overnight low of just 3 degrees. The fine weather is set to continue tomorrow, planned for a high of 13 and a low of 5. It should be pretty similar on Friday with a high of 14 degrees and a low of 4. And finally heading for Invercargill, mostly cloudy tonight with an overnight low of 4. Tomorrow should feature a few clouds and some fine periods with a high of 12 and an overnight low of 3. Mostly fine on Friday with some cloud at times and moderate westerly winds, a high of 13 and an overnight low of 3. And that's all from the South Today team for this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz and follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Have a great evening. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.